الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام والسنة. All praise and thanks belong to Allah for guiding us to Islam and for guiding us to the Sunnah. Ya ibadullah, all of us wants to go to the Jannah, and we know that we are commanded to put forward righteous good deeds. We are commanded to work hard and to strive for the Jannah. We are commanded to do those things in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He loves and that which He is pleased with. In order to do this, we have to learn, we have to study, we have to implement, and we have to act upon what we know. عن زيد بن ثابت رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يزال الله في حاجة العبد ما دام العبد أو ما دام في حاجة أخيه. That Allah will help an individual, take care of the needs and help an individual as long as that individual, as long as that slave is helping and assisting their brother. We find, walillahi alhamd, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He blesses us with a tremendous blessing when we are helpful to others. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He aids us and He assists us in a manner in which that we are not aided and assisted when we do not help others. So from the deeds in which we can do that are tremendously beneficial for ourselves and for our families and for society as a whole is that we strive to be beneficial towards others. We strive to help others. This is a lesson that unfortunately goes neglected often, especially in this type of society that is built upon everyone only being concerned about themselves. We have to strive and we have to have a concern for others and that we benefit others and that we benefit them in the most beneficial ways possible and we benefit them from that in which we have the ability to benefit them with. And this requires that we have intention. This requires that we intend to benefit ourselves so that we may help others. And I want you to reflect upon that. I want you to reflect upon that as relates to yourself when you are pursuing those things in which you are pursuing. Is this part of your agenda? Is this on your mind that you will put yourself in situations that will allow you to better help others? Or do others never even cross your mind? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says as it comes in a hadith, فيما رواه مسلم في الصحيح عن أبي موسى رضي الله تعالى عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على كل مسلم صدقة, that it is binding upon every Muslim to give charity. It is binding upon every Muslim to give charity. And I want you to reflect over the lights of this narration because the Prophet ﷺ is going to outline to us the ways in which we can give charity so that it is known that there is no excuse. There's no excuse. Despite your level of income, despite your tax bracket, as they say, there is no excuse. Everyone can give sadaqah. Every Muslim has to give sadaqah. It's binding upon them. When the Prophet ﷺ he said this, على كل مسلم صدقة. It is upon every Muslim to give sadaqah. قيل أرأيت إن لم يجدها. It was said unto the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and what about the one who doesn't find it? What about the one who they don't find anything that they can give in charity? Because what enters into the mind is what generally and typically enters into the mind when you hear charity. In order to give, I have to have something to give. So the question that they asked, they said, and what if a person doesn't find anything that they can give? They don't find anything they can give away in charity. I want you to listen to the answer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because in this it shows us what it means to be men. In this it shows us what it means to take on responsibility. In this it shows us what it means to be responsible. Naam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعتمل بيده. Then he should work with his hands. He should work. He should work with his hands. ينفع نفسه. He will benefit himself. ويتصدق. And then he can give charity. What if they don't find anything to give charity? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, then you work. Then you work so that you may benefit yourself, and then you can give charity. So if that means looking at overtime in a different manner, look at overtime in a different manner, look at skipping lunch in a different manner, look at picking up different shifts, you look at it from another perspective. Because now this puts me in a position where, yes, I have more because I can give more now. Now I can be charitable. I didn't have but $2 to give. I'll pick up another few hours. Now I have $15 to give. This is the manner in which we have to reflect and we have to think, because remember, al-jaza min jins al-amal. You will be rewarded according to what you have done. So when we look back to the first hadith that was mentioned, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said what? لا يزال الله في حاجة العبد. That Allah would consistently take care of the needs of the slave. ما دام في حاجة أخيه. As long as the slave is taking care of the needs of his brother. الجزاء من جنس العمل. If we don't have it, then we go out and get it so that we can give it. The question that they asked, they went on to say, وَقِيلَ أَرَأَيْتَ إِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ. And what is your opinion if he doesn't do it? What about then the person that doesn't go out and work more, so thus he doesn't have more to give? What about him and his situation? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't give an excuse and say, okay, well then this one is excused. No, but rather the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he responded and he said, يَعِينُ ذَا الْحَاجَةِ الْمَلْهُوفِ. Then he will help someone who is in dire need. He doesn't have anything to particularly give to someone else, so then you help someone else who is in need of your help. You help someone else who is in dire need of being helped. This is also how we give charity. If we don't have anything to give monetarily, then we give charity by helping. That could be helping physically, helping a person carry a couch because they're moving, helping a person clean up their yard because they are incapable of doing it, cutting someone else's grass, cutting your neighbor's grass, coming by your brother's house and you know your brother's not feeling well, cutting their grass, taking out their garbage, helping clean around the house, cooking food for them, so on and so forth. This is from how we can give charity and can be charitable to one another. This is how we build strong communities and strong societies. When everyone, they're not just worrying about their own plight, but they're also worrying about the plight of others. They're also worrying about their brothers. They're worrying about their neighbors. They're worrying about the believers. In such a situation, the believers, they won't go hungry because the believers are always looking to see who's hungry so we can give them something to eat. We can get them some food. This is the manner in which we are to be. This is how we are going to find success. This is how the Muslims have to be. So that instead of asking others for their assistance, looking for others to help, we don't worry about that because we have a system that is built upon helping ourselves collectively. هذا أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولجميع المسلمين فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. يا عباد الله. It is incumbent that we strive to put ourselves in situations where we can help others. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he gave the answer to the questioner, And what if they don't have it to do it? Or what if they don't even do that? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, then let them help someone who is in dire need. وَقِيلَ وَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ. And what if they don't have the ability to do that? Are there any other options? Any other things we can do? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, يَأْمُرْ بِالْخَيْرِ. Then let them command with good. Let them command with good. Ya ibadallah. In order to command with good, we have to learn what is good. In order to command with good, we have to learn what is good. العلم قبل القول والعمل. Action, knowledge precedes statement and action. To know what is good, you have to learn what is good so that you can point and direct others to what is good. In order to direct them to what is the sunnah, you have to learn what is the sunnah. You yourself have to learn what is the sunnah. In order to direct them to the way of the Sahaba, you have to learn what is the way of the Sahaba. Because bila shak wa bila rayb, there is no good except that it is built and based upon the Quran, the Sunnah, upon the way of the Salaf. Now, if you don't find those three components there, then there is no good. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is nothing that is good except he pointed us to do it. There is nothing that is evil except that he forbid us from it. So if you want to call the people to that which is good, then it must be upon Kitab wa Sunnah, ala fahm salaf al-ummah, upon the understanding of the Salaf of this ummah. So point the people to good. Point the people to good as relates to their aqidah. Now, so they believe correctly. This is incumbent, it is a must. Without tawheed, without the proper aqidah, a person, they will never be successful. Without the proper methodology, the minhaj that is sahih, the person will never be successful. So we have to point them to the proper aqidah, to point them to how to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His books, His angels, His messengers, the day of judgment, qadr khayri wa sharri, to the end of it. Point them to believe as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba believed. You see? So on and so forth. Then they ask, قِيلَ أَرَأَيْتَ إِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ. What is your opinion if they don't even do that? فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يمسك على الشر فإنها صدقة. Then they should withhold their evil. They should withhold from doing evil, because verily that is sadaqah. Naam. Because verily that is sadaqah. So an individual has to withhold from himself that evil should reach others, so they don't harm others with their tongue by verbally abusing them. They don't harm others with their hand, with their body, by physically abusing them. And even more so, they do not harm individuals as relates to their creed. They do not harm individuals as relates to their methodology. So they do not parrot the false beliefs of the people of innovation. This is harm. This is more harmful than being slapped in the face. This is more harmful than being slammed to the ground. This is more harmful than being cussed out and verbally abused. That you will give and you will spread to someone innovation. That you will give to them honey that is laced with poison. That you will give to them pork on a golden platter. Ya subhanallah. Parroting the beliefs of the people of innovation is from the greatest harms in which a Muslim could do to another Muslim. This is why the likes of these things, they cannot be tolerated. If an individual were to spew the likes of these things, they have to be corrected, they have to be refuted, they have to be rectified. Why? For the benefit of others, so that others are not harmed by the likes of this disease, so that others do not succumb to the ill effects of this poison, so that others are not harmed by the spread of this foolishness. So it is incumbent that we understand the likes of this, that if we don't have anything to give except to withhold harm from others, then we withhold the harm from others, because as the Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِنَّهَا صَدَقَةٌ. And we have to be keen and diligent upon striving to bring joy to the Muslims, striving to make the Muslims happy with those things that we know will bring joy to them from the good and halal things. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أفضل الأعمال إدخال السرور على المؤمن, that the best of the deeds is to make a believer happy. The best of the deeds is to make a believer happy. The implications of this and how this will have an effect and a benefit upon the society, there are much. But inshallah ta'ala, perhaps we will explore this in further depth and detail in sermons to come, khutb to come, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. فأسأل الله تعالى أن يوفقني وإياكم لما يحبه ويرضاه، وأن يجعلنا مباركا حيثما كنا، وأن يجعلنا ممن إذا أعطي شكر وإذا ابتلي صبر وإذا أذنب استغفر، فإن هؤلاء ثلاث عنوان السعادة. هذا فأقيموا الصلاة.